Hello students, today we shall do chapter Should Wizard Hit Mommy? Written by John Updike. I shall summarize you the whole chapter page wise. Please read and listen attentively. Before beginning of the chapter, let's know about the author John Updike. John Hoyer Updike was an American versatile writer. He was a novelist, poet, short story writer, art and literary critic. He was born on 18 March 1932 in Reading, Pennsylvania in United States. He was the only child who lived with his parents and grandparents. He always excelled in school. His mother was also a writer and encouraged him to write. He owes his literary achievements to the moral support he received from his mother. Sense of life is found in his novels, poetry, and stories. His first novel was Poorhouse Fare, published in 1958, and his last book was The Widows of Eastwick in 2008. He died of lung cancer on 27th January in 2009 in Danvers in Massachusetts, United States. His notable work are the Rabbit series, the Henry Bed series, Eastwick, the Maple stories. Many awards were in his name, like National Book Award for Fiction, two Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, two National Medals for Humanities, and many more. Now let's begin with the story, Should Wizard Hit Mommy? The story is about the fantasy of children and the difficult questions raised by them. It also conveys an important message for them that we'll come to know when we'll complete the story. So the story has basically main three characters: father, whose name is Jack, his daughter Joe, and his wife Clara, and he has a son Bobby, who is just mentioned in the story. Father Jack tells story to his daughter Joe, and so there are another important characters of the story that Father Joe tells to his daughter. There is an animal, skunk, whose name is Roger Skunk, a wizard, and an owl. And there is another mention of Roger Skunk's mother skunk and father skunk. Now let's read about the story. We'll do the page-wise summary of the chapter. Let's start for page 48 and 49. The story begins. Every Saturday, Jack, the father, told a story to his daughter to make her sleep. This routine started when she was just 2 years old, and now the girl is 4 years old. Every time he had told her the same story with a slight change. Usually, he had the same plot for his every Saturday story. The story had a creature as main character with the name Roger. Sometimes it was Roger Fish, Roger Squirrel, Roger Chipmunk. Roger usually had some problem and went it with to the wise owl. The owl would ask him to go to a wizard. Then wizard would do a magic and ask for payment. Roger would not have enough money. The wizard would guide him to go to a place where he could find it. Then Roger would return to his home happily, just in time to hear the train whistle that brought his daddy home from Boston. Then all the family members would enjoy supper. Then came a new Saturday. It was time for John's nap. Her 2-year-old younger brother, Bobby, was already fell asleep. Now Jack ran out of ideas. So Joe suggested him Skunk as a new character for his story. Now Jack began the new story to his daughter on the same plot filled with creative enthusiasm. This time it was a new animal, Roger Skunk. Roger had a problem. He was unable to make friends with other creatures because he smelled awful. That's why nobody played with him because of a stinky smell of his body and called him Roger Stinky Skunk. Roger Skunk left alone crying. Jack was pleased with his moment as he was telling something true, remembering his own childhood humiliations. Joe was got seriously involved with Roger Skunk's problem and suggested he should go to the owl. So this was all mentioned on page number 48 and 49. Now let's come to page number 50 and 51. In between, Jack's thoughts digress to his 6 months pregnant wife who was painting furniture downstairs. However, he continued the story and told the Roger skunk went to the owl who lived onto the top of the enormous tree. After thinking deeply on Skunk's problem, Owl suggested him to go to a wizard. Here, Jo interrupted her father by putting some questions which Jack found difficult to answer. But Jack continued. The owl directed Roger Skunk to go through the dark woods under the apple tree into the swamp over the creek where there was Wizard's little white house. The wizard was a tiny little man with a long white beard and a pointed blue hat. The wizard chanted a mantra for magic and changed Roger Skunk's smell into the smell of roses. Roger Skunk was very happy. That was all about page 51. Now let's come to page 52 and 53 of the textbook. Here, Joe's expressions of pleasure reminded Jack of his wife's faking pleasure at cocktail parties. At this time, Jack fumbled and told Joe that the payment of 7 pennies was asked from Roger Fish. Joe corrected him immediately that story was about Roger Skunk. Jack apologized and continued. The poor creature had only 4 pennies. The wizard directed Roger to go to the end of the lane to look down the magic well and would find 3 pennies there. Roger Skunk did the same and gave some pennies to the wizard. Skunk felt happy and ran out into the woods. Woodland creatures played games with Skunk. All felt happy as he smelled good. Skunk went home in the evening, happy and satisfied. Joe presumed that the story was over, and this made Jack unhappy as he didn't like women when they took anything for granted. He continued the story as he had some other ending in his mind. Roger Skunk's mother found the rose smell unpleasant and scolded him. Skunk's mommy was angry with Wizard and hit him on the head. The wizard altered Roger Skunk's order and Skunk smelled foul once again. Joe was utterly shocked and protested. She wanted the wizard to hit Mommy and not to change Skunk's smell. Jack snubbed Joe, saying it was his story, and defended Skunk's mother. Now, the last pages of the story, 54 and 55 of textbook. Mommy Skunk and Baby Skunk both waited for Papa Skunk's return from Boston. All had lima beans, celery liver, mashed potatoes in supper, and pie o my for dessert. Loving Mother Skunk hugged and kissed Roger to sleep and liked the smell of Baby Skunk again. Skunk now played with woodland animals as they eventually got used to his smell. Joe didn't like the ending of the story and wanted Wizard to head back to Mommy. Jack wanted Joe to learn the lesson that moms are always loving and knew what is right. Moreover, he wanted to teach her that being natural was not shameful. Even after listening to the story, Joe would not sleep and Jack threatened to spank her. Spank means to hit back on her buttocks. Jack went downstairs and Claire complained of inordinate delay in his coming. Jack watched his wife toil and noticed the woodwork, a cage of moldings, rails, and baseboards were half old and half new ivory. He felt caught in an ugly situation and found himself and his wife trapped in ugly middle position. He didn't want to speak with her, work with her, or touch her. It was maybe because he didn't like his wife working hard, wearing his shirt as if she has taken his place in the family. Now let's do very short answer type questions from this story. This will give you better understanding of the whole chapter.